influence of the Chinese Communist Party, led by Xi Jinping, extends far beyond just Newsclick. It's China's stated policy, comprehensive national power, use anything and everything in its grasp with its wherewithal to try and extend the Chinese propaganda and the Chinese point of view. And media becomes an important wing. In the US, what has happened is a lot of these entities were then designated as foreign missions because they had stake or involvement beyond a certain level in these entities, and that's why they were designated. But in many other nations, they work on the sly. They work in such a way that the front face is not Chinese. The front face has no overt explanation or overt involvement of a Chinese entity. But at the back end, the stakes are, and the money being pumped in is from the Chinese entities who are backed by the PLA, who have their affiliations and their loyalty to the CCP eventually. And thus, thereafter, then they start dictating what the narrative should be, what the tone and tenor of the coverage should be, and what the tone and tenor or the angle of the articles that particular publication pushes out, or that news agency or platform pushes out, should be. How to interpret a certain news development from a quote-unquote Chinese angle. And for time and again, there are multiple examples that have come to the fore with the way platforms like Newsclick presented stories which represented Chinese interests or the Chinese narrative vis-a-vis the Indian interest or India's interest. Now it extends way beyond Newsclick. What we are given to understand is that this goes even into apps and aggregators, to the extent that there are platforms which have more than 330 million users in India, aggregators who wanted to have a pan-India presence, and what they are doing is they are steering clear of national media largely, or national platforms largely, and then focusing on regional media, and where vulnerable regions, especially the coastal regions and the border regions, so languages like Marathi, languages like Telugu, languages like Punjabi, Urdu, even in Assamese, and some other languages, Tamil. Very importantly, interestingly, there are examples which have been cited which very clearly show that these parties were using the media as a tool. The other thing that they were also doing is that the media was used to influence opinion in India. And like I was telling you, imagine a Chinese radio is being translated into Tamil and being broadcast in Tamil Nadu. Clearly far left ideology, and in this case the journalist was held for spying in China, spying for China in India on Indian soil, and that's when this entire matter came to the fore. Agencies found and arrested this journalist because he had clear CCP links and he was writing things from a CCP narrative. Newswire wrote the favorable script on China, and that's why there was action that was taken. Newswire wrote favorable script and also received a lot of backlash. The government also received a lot of backlash because of this. The other aspect, CCP is very clearly using media as a tool. Like I said, there are multiple instances. There were apps and aggregators who were banned, action was taken, but there are still those who are still operating, even from Hong Kong-based app which had CCP money, more than 100 million users in India. So serious trouble which has now been flagged off, and clearly the extent of the Chinese propaganda is far greater than one can actually envisage.